So this was supposed to be for your birthday because you had a birthday.
I did.
It was kind of a big one.
It was a big one.
What number was that, Chief?
The big 50.
Big 50. Half a century.
I know.
Dang.
Some days it feels like it.
Yeah. And how was your birthday?
It was good.
Yeah?
It was good.
What did you come into that day?
Well, of course, it was a day that I was scheduled to work. And I took a couple of days off after. But the day of, I decided, you know what? Let's go in and have a good day with people I enjoy being around. And as I turned the corner to the fire station, I saw this huge happy 50th birthday, Chief sign. And all I could think was, okay, it's game on. Here we go. So I took a deep breath and got out of my little department car and started walking the building, and there was no lights on, so I came in. But before I walked into the building, I did take a look to the left, which, if you know where I parked my car, I was looking in the direction of west. And the west parking lot, I saw a truck that was very familiar to me. And I'm sure your name is on the registration. And so I thought, that's kind of odd that you're here this early.
What are you talking about? I'm always saying early.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just to define early, I guess. But anyway, as I opened the door to my office, it's filled with balloons and balls from like a ball pit thing, and yeah.
And then you heard some tee
I did.
behind the quarter.
And I think the word that I mumbled under my breath, I won't say that, but it was a good thing that there wasn't people around. But, so for the next 8 hours, it was kicking balls and rolling ankles. And as a 50-year-old,
I have some video of that.
Yeah. As a 50-year-old, that's probably not a situation you definitely want to put yourself in. Got through it.
Well, good thing you're young and agile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you explained it best. I hated it.
And you loved it.
But I loved it.
Yes.
So
yes.
It was all good.
As your wife predicted.
Yeah.
She said he would love it and hate it at the same time. So.
Yes.
But I did not make you stand out by the sign and get your picture taken.
No, that came up, but it only came up once. So
Yeah.
I assumed the reaction I had probably spoke volumes too.
Yeah. I thought, that's okay. I'll get him in the boat. It's fine. Get him between two trucks.
Yeah.
So we came up with a few questions just to kind of dive deep into the inner thoughts of Fire Chief Brian Platz.
All right.
Push a button and instantly become an expert at whatever you want. What would you do?
A creative staffing model.
It doesn't have to be work related.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But that's...
You want to become an expert at creative staffing? I thought you were going to say guitar.
No. I mean, that'd be cool and all.
Yeah?
That's on the bucket list, but it's nothing that, keeps me awake at night.
Yeah. But clearly that's the problem you would solve if you could.
Yeah.
The staffing.
Yeah. Yep.
Staffing
It's
issue.
just, we've got really good people, right? I mean, you know this from being here for the last 10 months. People that want to be here, people that want to do the good work that we do. It's just, where we're at right now in our evolution, we just, we're in a position to where we've got some part-time, a few full-time, a number of pay-per-call, and just trying to play the shell game to where we have complete coverage is really, really difficult.
So we're busy.
Yeah.
We're busy.
Yeah. We're going to certainly kill last year's
Record.
And so, we'll probably beat that by over 100 calls this year.
Yeah, we're at 1,300 so far.
Yeah, we're in the 1,300s, and we've got a little over 2 months to go.
Yeesh.
And last year we ran 1,460, 1,470, somewhere in there.
We're a big city.
Yeah, we're growing.
We're growing. This is true.
A lot of calls for service.
So, the growth was probably unexpected the last few years, how fast it's grown. But what is something unexpected that has changed about you in the last few years?
I think I've been here for almost 4 years now. In one more month, it'll be 4 years. And one of the things that I didn't necessarily see happening was, I got in the fire service to do all the things people in the fire service, why they're attracted to the fire service, right? You want to be the person that is privileged enough to go make somebody's day better. You get to ride in the big red truck and go do those things that you're trained to do. And of course, that was me to start out. But as I turned that corner into a more administrative department head kind of position, what I found that surprised me was the amount of joy I take in mentoring and giving advice to new people that are just coming in the fire service. I don't know why I didn't anticipate that, but as you know, our fire department is very young. We have a lot of turnover, and we have a lot of young new folks, and so just to be able to make that connection with them and get to talk about my experiences over the course of the last 30 years and really help them when they come in the office and say, hey, Chief, I'm thinking about doing this. And it's not always about the fire service. Sometimes it's about their personal life.
Right.
And that's just been unbelievably satisfying for me. So I'm really, really enjoying that part of it.
So would you say that's your favorite part about being fire chief?
Certainly ranks right up there.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think I was talking to somebody about this the other day. That's certainly a big thing, but when we get to go out and do the work we do, especially some of those higher risk, low frequency calls like a apartment building on fire or a technical rescue or something like that, when we come back and we did a good job and everybody's cleaning up, you look around and everybody's got a smile on their face.
We were talking about that, yeah.
Yeah. It's just the amount of satisfaction across the board that people have about doing the work that we get to do. And that kind of stuff, that flavor or that attitude, that environment lasts for, a good day or two. Once we do that. And so it's just a fun time to be around the fire station because everybody's just really positive. They want to be here, just kind of it's a shot in the arm for everybody. And I love that. Absolutely love that.
Because if it goes well, which it usually does, because, we're that good.
Well, we've got a pretty good training staff right now.
I hadn't heard. I hadn't heard.
I thought that's where you were leading me.
Oh, no. I wouldn't lead you. But like you said, when it goes well, because we want to use, we want to use our skills. We want to be useful engines.
Sure.
Yeah. And also then trust is built through shared experience. So we have those experiences, we come back and it's like, oh yeah, you did great. Or hey, thanks for backing me up. Or thanks for not pushing me down the stairs.
Or did you see that guy fall? Oh my God, that was a riot. And of course that guy's like, I know, I'll do better.
Yeah, did you see that moment where I took your nozzle?
We all have
bitter.
Yeah. Positives and negatives, right?
Yes. But because of our size, you're a working chief. Mm-hmm. You and all the assistant chiefs, Chief Kohani, you guys are working chiefs.
Yeah. I think there's some benefit to that. There are days, especially now that we've talked about my last birthday, there are days where I just rather maybe pay bills or work on next year's budget or work on the next part of our staffing plan. But what keeps you connected to the organization is getting on the trucks and going doing what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
And so it not only connects you to the people within the organization, but it keeps you connected to the community. And so, it gives me or affords me the opportunity to go out and talk to community members and maintain that engagement as well. So that's certainly a huge positive to being maybe one of 3 people in the building at a particular date and time. Because I know that's part of my job duty too. If there's not enough folks to handle a call, I help handle the call.
Boots on the ground.
Yep. And so that's a good thing. And so, there were a number of years where I was off the trucks, but obviously as I came here, that was a big part of my job responsibility. And so it's been good for me. It's been really good for me. It kind of got me back to where, the reason why I got in the fire service.
Right.
Go out and do what we do.
Because about how old were you when you knew you wanted to be in the fire service?
When I knew I wanted to be? Mm-hmm. Some kids just grow out of that.
You just didn't?
I just didn't. Yeah. I knew from the time I was probably 6 years old.
Because your dad was firefighter?
Yep. Dad was fire chief in Dyersville, Iowa. So I spent a lot of time at the fire station in Dyersville growing up. And a lot of my formative years were, right next to him, doing phone
things.
Calls, going to meetings. Just anytime he was going to the fire station, I wanted to go because I wanted to be around the fire stuff, In fact, even in high school or college, I'd go back home and Dad would get toned out for a fire and I'd go with. So I'd get to go with, And so obviously I wasn't in a situation where I got to go into burning buildings or anything like that.
Right.
But just got to help him on the outside, doing that administrative kind of stuff, that strategic kind of stuff. And so I think he really kind of helped foster, even more the desire that I thought I had. So.
Well, and then you got to be there afterwards for like the cleanup back at the station, like you were talking about.
Yep.
The good camaraderie part.
Yep. And that was always fun. Of course, it was a different time. It was 30 plus years ago. Smaller communities, so things were just a little different. A lot of the people that responded to those calls lived and worked in the community. Where the situation we have here is a little different because we're a part of a bigger area. With Coralville, Iowa City, Tiffin, Solon, Swisher, there's just a lot of movement. Where there, it was
the
just
metro area,
a little small, not small island, but it was an island where a lot of people lived and worked in the community. Mm-hmm. And so, just a little different. Not better or worse, just different.
Right, because now you and Brenda live by the high school.
Yep.
And you like to watch the baseball games, right?
Big baseball fan, yep. Our backyard butts up to softball and the baseball diamond.
Yeah.
And so all spring and into the summer, we sit on our back screen porch and just get to hear the slap of the gloves and the bats hitting the ball. And now that it's no kids in the house anymore, it's kind of a renewed energy for the two of us. And,
empty nesters. True empty nesters.
True empty nesters.
Yeah, unless you have a boomerang, if one of them comes back or something. But
we've had a few of those already, but I think we're at a point now where maybe they've had enough of us, so they're off on their own. We'll see.
I can't imagine they would have enough of you. I mean, especially Brenda.
Good point.
You maybe, but
good point.
I don't know, Brenda, she's pretty cool.
Yeah, I do the pushing away, she does the hugging. Yeah.
You're kind of a softie deep down though. A little bit.
A little bit, but they also need to be out on their own.
That's true.
They need to learn about life.
That's true. So most people don't know this, but you are a fan of the flowered coffee cups.
I am. I like, the I don't know what you call these, the Queen Anne coffee cups, or
yes,
they're very regal, very old timey. Reminds me of my grandma.
Yeah.
So yeah.
There are a couple in the station that he has an affinity for.
Yeah, and nobody else uses them.
Huh.
And I don't know if it's because nobody likes them or if they just don't use them because they know I'm going to use them. I don't know. But
I mean, we don't want to mess up your stuff.
I appreciate whatever it is.
We don't want to mess up your stuff. We don't want to mess up your coffee cups. We don't want to open your mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. One thing that people probably also don't know is that you love to go grocery shopping.
I do like the shopping of the groceries.
What is a reliable staple that you always grab at the grocery store?
Well, to be honest with you, I haven't done a whole lot of grocery shopping in the last couple of years just because of
working.
So we've kind of had to trade that duty back and forth a little bit. When I was on shift work, when I worked for Iowa City, game on, right? Because I had days off and I'd do my grocery shopping. But,
you used to go to like more than one grocery store.
I had a little bit of a circuit.
Yeah,
where I got to know some of the people that stocked the shelves, and it was to the point where if we would have had a wedding or a graduation party anytime soon, they'd have probably been there. But
kind of like when
I had to
Norm walks into the bar,
right?
Norm, like, Chief.
I think something we get every time is almond milk. My wife and I are big fans of the almond milk, and that's something you go through a lot. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's a lot of fruit. Our house is full of fruit.
I thought you were going to say beer, craft beer.
I like craft beer, but I don't. I just don't go through as much as I used to.
No.
So it's not something
because you're getting older.
Maybe there's a theme starting with this whole thing. Interesting.
All right. What else do the people need to know about Chief Brian Platz?
I think with regard to just my job as fire chief, I think probably one of the most important things to me is the culture of our organization. Creating an environment or a place that people want to be. I think that's really important from the standpoint of attracting volunteers, paper call members, simply because they're not necessarily here to make a dollar. I mean, their incentive is not here to get a paycheck at the end of the quarter. It's to do everything else. It's that privilege of duty, right? It's the opportunity to go out and serve the community, be around this stuff. on the other hand, we have part-time personnel, and we pay them a wage, right? So it's a difficult balance in trying to make sure that you build an environment or a culture that is welcoming to those different groups of folks that we have within the department. And so that's hugely important to me. As we were starting down the path of going to part-time, we certainly reached out to many of our peer organizations, the fire departments that were a lot like us or that have walked in those shoes already, whether it was Waukee, Johnston, Hiawatha, those folks that went from volunteer to combination. And one of the things, there was a number of things that they told us. Number one was, we don't have the secret recipe. You got to figure it out for yourself because you are your own unique department and it's a unique city. Understood. And they were right. We lived that. But one of the other things they talked about was the us versus them mentality. As far as once you start paying people, just be very careful that you don't get the volunteers and the part-timers or the career. We've worked really, really hard to not let that happen. There were a number of times where we saw the creep.
Yeah.
It was starting to happen. And we had to have a lot of difficult conversations, and people had to step away for a while and come back. But I think we've done a really good job of maintaining that sense of importance on that particular issue, because we just don't hear that.
Yeah,
that's not part. If you're a firefighter on the combo or on the or a part-time side, or a firefighter on the pay-per-call side, you're a firefighter. If you're a lieutenant on the part-time, you're a lieutenant on the pay-per-call side. You're a lieutenant. And once we go out and do our work, we get back, it's not, we're going to let it for the part-time.
Right.
Or the part-time goes home in the morning and says, well, we're going to let it for the paper call. That doesn't happen. When the job's done, we all work together, we get it done, we get everything back in service, mission ready, and then we go home. So I think we've been hypercritical of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because if we can't trust you to empty the trash, how are we supposed to trust you to, pull the right hose line on a fire?
Or drive a $600,000 fire truck.
Yeah, that. Yeah, or a boat.
Or a boat.
I mean, I don't think it was $600,000. It's a pretty nice boat.
Actually, I think it was pretty much free. I mean, EMA gave this beauty to us, and we just operated. So yeah.
I mean, I know awesome. You insisted on doing the interview in the boat.
Couldn't wait. What time is it? Marla, what a ball player.
Marla, hooch. What do you recommend? A lot of night games.
That is pretty good. So Diane Sawyer, our